Hey guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video, we're going to talk about a topic that is very interesting. The true nature of Haro Ichigo's power. Is Ichigo really a Vizard, or is he closer to an Arrancars? Or is he something else entirely? The topic of the Vizards and how their powers work is quite mysterious. Even within the story itself, different characters gave different explanations, from the Vizards themselves to Isshin Kurosaki, Urahara Kizuki, and Aizen Sasuke. And since Ichigo shares Haro powers with both the Vizard and the Arrancars, the question is, which side he actually close to? And to answer this guys, we first need to explain who the Vizards are, how their powers work, and what an Arrancar's resurrection means, and even the unique case of Kanamitose. And then we look at Ichigo Kurosaki's situation and which side he is with. And I would like to start with this man, Urahara Kizuki. This mysterious man changed and hid many facts just to make certain things happen, including letting the Vizards train Ichigo. Because in the Pendulum flashback, we saw that the Vizards were originally just Shinigamis. Some were captains, others were vice captains, and at the same time, only a few Shinigami knew about something called holification, and Aizen was secretly working on this, trying to break the barrier between the Shinigami and Hollows, and he carried out experiments to inject Hollow power into souls, and then he did that with Shinigamis. But Aizen wasn't the only one who knew about this. Urahara Kizuki mentioned in both the Pendulum flashback and the flashback of Isshin that the holification was an old Shinigami idea to strengthen the Kunpaku of the Shinigami. However, the project was eventually abandoned because the results were too dangerous, because most souls couldn't control Hollow powers, just like other forbidden projects in the Soul Society. For example, the Spearhead, which was about to insert powerful souls into dead human bodies to fight Hollows, and that led to the creation of mod souls like Khan, but it was cancelled due to ethnical concerns. As for the holification, as we said, it was cancelled because of the inability to control the power. And as a result of his research, Urahara ended up creating the Hogyuku. Meanwhile, Aizen Sasuke continued his experiments in secret and even injected captains and vice captains with hollow powers, which leads to the events we saw at the end of the Pendulum flashback. And here guys, we need to highlight two important things. The Vizards were originally Shinigami with Zanpakuto, and Aizen at that time was doing his first experiments on holification, and this all happened over 100 years ago. And so Urahara Kizuki along with Chisai and Yurichi helped the Vizards escape to the human world, taking the truth with them. Meanwhile, people in the Soul Society were told a different story, that a group of Shinigami had tried to gain hollow powers using forbidden methods, and that was the official narrative. And that's what Isshin Shiba also believed when he became a captain. He thought the Vizards were simply criminals who tried to gain hollow powers. On the other hand, guys, Urahara Kizuki, after saving the Vizards, tried to prevent soul suicide, a complete breakdown of the soul, by creating a vaccine made from Quincy arrows in a human soul. And this vaccine stopped the soul suicide, but it didn't stop the hollow transformation. That's why the Vizard had to learn how to control their inner hollows, which they achieved by fighting it within their inner world. And that's how they were able to wear the mask and stay conscious at the same time. Of course, everything we saw from the Vizards ends there, and so all of this information remained known only to Urahara Kizuki and the Vizards themselves. So when he met Isshin for the first time, Urahara Kizuki told him he had managed to stop a group of Shinigami from exposing to soul suicide, but he never told him who they were. He let Isshin continue to believe the official narrative about them. In fact, Urahara Kizuki went even further. According to the secret stories featured in the new Bleach game Rebirth of Souls, Urahara Kizuki is the one who told Hiraku about Ichigo, that Ichigo had hollow powers inside him. Hiraku had never heard of Ichigo before that, and Urahara Kizuki did this intentionally so that Hiraku would bring Ichigo into the Vizards and teach him how to control his hollow powers, which had been growing stronger ever since his battle with Byakuya. So guys, when you watch or rewatch these scenes of Isshin telling Urahara Kizuki, just like you predicted, the Vizard made contact with Ichigo, you may see Urahara Kizuki a cunning man, but in a positive way. He didn't just predict it, he orchestrated it from the start. Now on the other hand guys, Hiraka and the others call themselves the Vizards, or the Masked Army. They tried to give themselves a new identity. Former Shinigami who had gained hollow powers and could wear a mask to harness that strength. But Aizen Sasuke, the very person who caused their transformation, didn't see them that way, and that's a very important point guys. After Urahara Kizuki and the Vizards escaped to the human world, Aizen kept searching for them. At the same time, he continued his holification experiments, and from his perspective, the Vizards were failures. They weren't a new race, nor were they the result he wanted from his experiments. In fact, 100 years later, Aizen would describe them fake Arrancars. And honestly guys, I think that term fits them perfectly, at least for now. Because why did Aizen see them that way? In my opinion, it's because the Vizards weren't able to fully merge with their hollow powers. The most they could do was achieving the mask. They can wear the mask for a few minutes and suppressing the hollow inside them. And what truly makes holification successful, in my opinion, is resurrection. The ability to fully unleash hollow power in a controlled form. Arankars are hollows who gain Shinigami-like abilities. They seal their hollow powers inside their swords and take on a human forms and break off their masks. When they release their swords, they access their true hollow forms, and that's the resurrection. The Vizards, on the other hand, either don't know how to access resurrection or they simply can't. In fact guys, none of them were never shown using Bankai while wearing the mask, which shows there might be a limitation. That's likely why Aizen Sasuke called them fake Arankars, especially since we have a Shinigami who did manage to perfectly merge with hollow powers, and he is Kaname Tosen. Tosen was able to wear the mask and perform a type of resurrection, which allowed him to merge his Zanpakuto abilities with hollow powers. First, he used his Zanpakuto to activate his hollow powers, and then he transformed into a giant insect-like being. And what is more interesting guys, his Zanpakuto's name Suzumushi means a cricket, a type of insect, so his resurrection brought out the essence of both Hollow and Zanpakuto in one form. So when we compare all of these guys to Ichigo Kurosaki, we can see something. Ichigo is a completely unique case. He might seem like a Shinigami Arrancor hybrid, but in truth he's beyond any known category. Not only does he have Quincy blood, which is reacts badly to Hollow powers, but in his case his Hollow and Shinigami sides are fused in a way that defies logic. Normally this kind of fusion would cause what's known as soul suicide, but Ichigo was born with all of these forces already inside him. Even though he struggled to control them later on, he was never forced to reject any one part of himself. Unlike the Vizards or even Kaname Tosen, Ichigo's hollow powers are actually a part of his very soul, built into his spiritual makeup. His hollow is fused with his Zanpakuto from the very beginning, and that's why he was able to use hollow powers even while in Bankai. And when the old man Zangetsu unleashed White's true power during his fight against Ichikura, Ichigo entered a form that resembled resurrection, and Kubo himself confirmed that the mask Ichigo wore in that state, the one with the two horns, was the manifestation of his true hollow form, or the correct form of holification, unlike the former mask he trained with under the Vizards. And this shows guys that the Vizards might not have developed properly, and one possible reason is that their hollow powers are separated from their Zanpakutos, and this separation may be what's preventing them from reaching full power, and that's why they might need further training to fully merge both powers. If they manage to do that, they could potentially access resurrection like states or even use hollow powers while in Bankai. In fact, Kubo had previously confirmed that can theoretically use resurrection. The real question is, are they truly capable of doing so? We haven't seen it in the manga, but perhaps we may see it in the upcoming core. We might finally see them using their masks and Bankai together, which would suggest that they have grown over the years and strengthened their bond with their hollow side. As for Ichigo guys, I honestly don't think he qualifies as a Vizard in the way the Vizards define themselves. He didn't gain hollow powers, he was born with them. Is he closer to an Arrancor? In terms of how he combines hollow and Shinigami powers, yes, maybe like that. But in truth, Ichigo is far beyond that. He has transcended the limits of both Shinigami and Arrancars. He became the very thing that Aizen always dreamed of, someone who broke the boundaries between different forms of power. But Ichigo didn't just break one boundary, he broke all of them. He became a being that unites everything: Shinigami, Hollow, Quincy, even human, a true hybrid, not through experimentation but by birth and destiny. In the end, guys, what do you think about what I have said? Tell me guys your opinions in the comments, and see you in my next video.